I went to college and then went back to college and went back to college again several times over the last 3 decades, never completing my degree. I'm a spacecraft architect, so I take the desires of a customer. They'll come in and say, "We want a satellite." And I say, "Well, what do you want the satellite to do?" And then they would say, "What can the satellite do?" So after that cat and mouse back and forth, I eventually come up with a specification, a drawing, a set of requirements that define a geostationary spacecraft for someone like DirecTV, Dish Network, SiriusXM, or Hughes Network Services. Out of high school, I worked at Sears, Roebuck and Company. And there was a time one day that I said, after 7 years, making twice as much money as my friends who had their AA degrees or doing things in engineering and electronics, making very good money, but after 7 years, I walked into work one day and said, I can't do this anymore. I want to do something in technology. So in between jobs, I applied for a carpenter's job at Ford Aerospace. So we had carpenters because we did not have 3-dimensional CAD systems in those days, so we mocked up the entire spacecraft to make sure all the parts would fit together, to make sure things didn't collide together, to make sure that they moved past each other when they're supposed to. And then while at Ford Aerospace and at Space Systems Loral, they had a tuition assistance program, and we had in-person classes at Cogswell College, and I did that for a couple years. Then I let that slide, and then I had children and things got busy, and then I just never really finished. I am largely self-educated. I taught myself calculus and physics and electrical engineering and thermodynamics, but the formal education was never quite all put together until I entered Grantham. I carried this insecurity with me that, these people have fancy degrees and I don't, and I think I overachieved because of that. So because I didn't have the degree, I would say, yes, I can do this, and yes, I can do that, and take on very difficult projects and grind through them and learn them. But I did it out of insecurity more than ambition. I started looking on the internet for the degree program that I had started at Cogswell, which is the Bachelor of Science of Electronics Technology, BSET. So I typed in BSET to a search engine about 2 years ago to the day, and I think I got 10 hits. And then there was online schools, and talking to their admissions department, they didn't seem super excited about taking someone who had a handful of degrees from this school, or units from this school, and a handful of units from this school, and a handful of units from this school, and put them together in a package and say, here's what you need to complete. That changed when I got to Grantham. I called Grantham's admission department. I spilled my guts out to them and said, this is what I've accumulated, this is what I don't have. And they said, we can work with that. And they put together, in a very short time, they said, you could do this in 2 years. And they bundled that together and said, do this and you get a degree. It was Grantham that provided the online access and, importantly, the structure to keep me on task and complete my degree. I credit the Grantham advisors with their weekly call-ins, checking in, how are you doing? Are you getting your assignments done? Keeping me on task. That resulted in 2 years to the day after I enrolled, a framed diploma on the wall of my office. Thank you, Grantham.